Ted's throwing me off here. The Division III tournament began in 1975. The SUNYAC Conference received an automatic bid to the field of 32 every year. In 1975, Brockport State went to the Final Four. In 1976, Plattsburgh State went to the Final Four. And in 1977, Oneonta State went to the Final Four. Not one of Doc Sauer's teams, not one of Jerry Welsh's teams. That's how good the SUNYAC Conference was in the late 70s and early 80s. Norm was one of those coaches in that very, very tough league. Tonight we celebrate one of those excellent coaches, Norm Law. I had the honor to be Norm's assistant in 1976. It was the best year of my life. I lived above a bar called Brody's, and they had a house band that played 6 nights a week till early in the morning. I got free access to the bar and pitchers of Coke. I lived rent-free. All I had to do was clean up the common areas in the apartment, the bathroom, the living room, and the kitchen. For 2 of my good buddies who are here, Bo and Willard, and a guy who ran the place whose nickname was Dirty Ed. So I had my hands full, but it was still rent-free. The gym was close enough I could walk to it, and I played racquetball every day with Norm, who was an excellent, excellent racquetball player. And every game was 21-19. He would say he won them all, but it's simply not the case. I met my wife Paula of 42 years that year at Plattsburgh. I played a game called broomball. How many guys here played broomball? It's the damnedest thing I ever played. And the only reason they let me play is whenever there was a penalty, they let me go in because I could run for a week, and all these other guys could drink for a week. And so I played broomball. But the best thing about it was I won't say the best thing because Paul is here. One of the best things there was I got to work for and with Norm Law. That team that year went to the Final Four. What an experience. 3 years later, after going to Delhi Agricultural and Technical College, I receive a call at 3 in the morning. It's Dan Thies. Dan, where are you? Would you stand up, please, Dan? Thank you. Dan was my first recruit ever, played for me at Delhi Ag and Tech, and then he transferred to play for Norm. I get this call at 3 in the morning, and he's obviously having fun because he had just made a buzzer beater to beat the University of Vermont, a Division I program. I believe, and I could be wrong, but until Williams recently beat the University of Massachusetts, it's the only time a Division III school has beaten a Division I school in a regular season game. I shouldn't say this, but I will. Norm was right next to him in the bar. That was one worth celebrating. You might remember the first game in the Knickerbocker Arena when Siena played Pittsburgh in front of 13,000 fans. Well, after Dan's team, a few years later, Norm joined Paul Evans' staff at the University of Pittsburgh. And he made that thing happen. He made that game happen. Norm was a mentor. He showed me a different style of basketball. He wasn't all basketball. He was flexible. He knew how to handle players. I learned an awful lot about that from him. I can't thank Norm enough for that opportunity and for the lessons, for the friendship he's given me over the years. I believe it when I say it was the best year of my life. Norm Law.
tough act to follow. I think he missed his career opportunities. He had a great career in basketball, but he should have been a comedian. I want to thank you, Mike, for that great introduction. Rennie, I want to thank you for making this such a wonderful evening. I've had so much support in my career that I need to acknowledge them now. I want to acknowledge my dad, my brother Ted, my brother Leonard, my sister-in-law Shirley, and my son-in-law Kurt. I'm sure right now they're looking down on us and enjoying the evening like we are. I want to mention my family. Two of them have already been mentioned. I want to mention Bob. I want to mention Dow and his wife, Betty, my sister-in-law, Donna, and my children, who I'm so proud of. My two sons, Jeff and Joe, my daughters, Sue, Katie, Jacqueline, and Bethany, my granddaughter, Lily, my granddaughter, Gretchen, and my grandson, Trey. I also want to mention my sister-in-law, Corrine, who is sick and couldn't make the trip. I have two tables of support over here, and I just want to thank them for making the trip and supporting me throughout my career. But most of all, I want to thank my biggest supporter, my best friend, my assistant, my wife, Barbara. Thank you, honey. Speaking of assistant coaches, I have three of them here with me tonight. My son Jeff, after he graduated, stayed on and helped me, and it was a pleasure coaching him for 3 years. John Hollingshead, a very successful high school coach in the Plattsburgh area, helped me for 3 years. And of course, Mike Dean. Mike and I have something in common. We have the same birthday, September 28th. But fortunately, I'm better looking than he is. I have some players here tonight, too. Again, my son Jeff, Donnie Verkey. Donnie played for me in high school. When he graduated, it was his first year I went to Plattsburgh. After he finished his 2-year career at a junior college, he came to me and played for me. It was very instrumental in getting my program off the ground. Dan Thies, which he's already mentioned. Danny came to me from Mike, and after many, many hours of correcting his mistakes that he had at club, he turned out to be a great point guard for us. George Fleckenstein. George was a member of the 75-76 Final Four team. Great competitor. Guy Garrow. Unfortunately, Guy only played for me 1 year because I left, but he was a great point guard and extremely competitive. People have asked me, why basketball? Why did you stay with the game? And I have to say that I have 4 brothers who all played basketball. I was the youngest. My dad, one of the best things that my dad loved to do was to watch them play. So I watched many, many games. And as I watched those games, I became very interested in the game. However, living on a farm, I had no place to practice. We didn't have a rim, we didn't have a ball, but my dad and my older brothers said, we'll make a place. So they went up in the barn, cleared out an area. My dad took a crate, a wooden crate, cut the bottom out, posted it on the wall. For a ball, he took a small burlap bag and stuffed it with rags and whatever, tried to make it as good a basketball as he could, and that's what we played with. Now, obviously, you couldn't dribble the ball, but my brothers were inventive enough that they made some rules that we could play 1-on-1 and 2-on-2, and that's where I learned to compete playing law ball. I was so happy when I got to the 7th grade because I had a place to use a real ball and a rim. And I played junior high basketball. I played 4 years of varsity basketball. After graduation, I went to Brockport State only because I wanted to try to play college basketball. I had never seen a game. When I got there, I was lucky again. I had access to a gym and a ball. And when that gym wasn't being used, and I wasn't in class and studying, which was often, I was in that gym working out, working on my game, and it paid off. I made the freshman team. I played 3 years of varsity and was captain my varsity year. After graduation, I got a job teaching and coaching junior high basketball at Seneca Falls, New York. And I coached junior high, JV, and varsity. And at that time, I thought, I need a philosophy. I need something I can convey to my players about life and about what it takes to get the job done. And I came up with discipline, hard work, teamwork, and determination. And I made that my philosophy throughout my career. After I really wanted to be a college coach, after coaching 3 years of varsity basketball, but I wasn't quite sure I could get a job. But an opening came up at Plattsburgh, so I decided to apply. And I applied, and lo and behold, I got the job. Now, I have a job, I'm 31 years old. I have no experience with college basketball. I have no experience with NCAA rules. I have no experience with making budgets, and I have no experience in recruiting. So I stepped back and said, am I making myself up for failure? And I thought about it, and I said, I hate that word failure. So I said, okay, I'll take the job. And I went to work at it. 17 years later, I left Plattsburgh. I have a very successful career and went on to the University of Pittsburgh under Mike, which Paul's already, Mike is already, you're Mike. Mike is already referred to, and 8 successful seasons, 2 Big East championships, 5 NCAA appearances. Rennie wants me out of here. And 1 NIT appearance. My career ended. I want to thank Rennie, my family, Mike, and everyone who was here for the evening. Thank you. Sorry.